It's time for the final push, everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Metroid Other M. I'm your LP for today, capital G. And much like the previous video, this is going to be post-commentary. Unlike the previous video, there won't be 2 million cuts everywhere. Of course, we do have some more Elite Space Pirates, but at this point it's a minor issue, as you can see. So yeah, what I'm going to talk about in this video, I guess a little bit more about my history of the Metroid series, my personal history of the series. And maybe a little bit about my channel, where it's going to go from here, now that we finally have Metroid Other M in the books. Well, by the end of this video, it's in the books anyways. So yes, actually the first Metroid game I played was Super Metroid. I grew up as a Sega kid, so I did not have an NES. I knew people that had the NES, but not Metroid specifically. Like, I played games like Mario Brothers, of course, Adventures of Lolo. But my first exposure to the Metroid series was Super Metroid. As part of a local teen club that they had in the city I was growing up in. So that's where I discovered the series, although I could never get far in that game simply because I'd play a bit on the game. And then I'd come back to the club next week, and by the time I come back, somebody else has already erased my file and started a new game. So I never actually finished it until much, much later, when I discovered that emulators existed. Last time we were on, I picked up a Game Boy Advance, played legit copies of Zero Mission, played the original Metroid off of that, of course Metroid Fusion. Metroid 2 I initially played off of an emulator, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing the game again, but not the original version, another Metroid 2 remake that has been worked on for the past couple years. I played the demo of that is amazing. So look it up, everyone, another Metroid 2 remake if you have not looked it up already. Of course, it was after I played all of those games I finally got to try Prime. And Prime 1, Prime 2, freaking awesome. I did recently get Prime 3, although as of this recording, I haven't had a chance to play it. Things have been pretty busy as of late, so soon enough I'll play it. I hear it's definitely a great transition to the Wii. And I hear it's a bit easier than other Metroid Prime games, but that's no big deal. If anyone's like, why you only get Metroid Prime 3 now? Well, that's my gaming habits. I tend to be a generation and a half behind consistently. I'm not a hardcore I prefer console gaming over PC gaming, but I've never been a hardcore console gamer. So when PS4 and Xbox One come out, am I getting them day one? No. Will I eventually get them? Maybe in 10 years when their successors are out, knowing my habits. And as you can tell, in this sequence we've got a bit of an enemy rush. We've been facing pretty much everything we've seen in the game so far. Screw Attack has been making quick work of most of them. Space Pirates! Cool! How you guys been doing? Because at this point Samus is at full power, so Gotta take more than a bunch of space pirates to shut us down. Oh, this guy. Never liked this guy. But here we actually have some room to move, so this is so much easier. I never liked fighting him. Oh. You can still bring it, actually. Gotta be careful. Boom. Ouch. I don't know who that hurt more, me or him. Like, you can hear it, anyways. He's bringing it. Like, I don't know where he's coming from. Oh, that's not true. I knew where he came from, but still. Well, when I was playing through this, it just sort of came out of midair and I didn't know what was going on. Like, how are all these things that I killed already coming back, kind of thing. It's like the game is trying to explain enemy respawn. Well, that's a nice challenging sequence. So, when you're making your own playthrough of this game, and what's the point if you make your own playthrough of the game, be aware that this bit exists. Yes, when I was making this LP, I did not look up any spoilers, and I did not look up any other videos of the game. So I was completely blind. The only thing I had to look up was the fact that it explained nowhere that you can do the whole ledge grabbing thing that was debuted in Metroid Fusion. And roll up into a ball. So yeah. And just to explain what I was doing here, since I cleared out this tunnel, I doubled back to check to see if there was anything else I can collect, but that turned out to be a no. Just so you all know. So yes, with my history of that pretty much touches everything that needs to be touched on my history of the Metroid series. Do I want to see more Metroid games? Yes. Do I want to see it in this style again? As long as there's fewer cutscenes and more analog control stick. Because the D-pad thing was annoying and it felt restrictive. But this game got so many of the classic Metroid moveset right. It could have gotten the feel right if it wasn't bound to a space station. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are the final thoughts on this particular game. And where I think it should go next. Return to Prime would probably be the ideal because of just how awesome the Prime games turned out to be. But anyways, future of the series, future of this channel. Well, I definitely will do the Prime games at some point, not right away, of course. I do have a few things to show you. As of this recording, I had just come back from the Montreal Comic-Con. And I was able to, with my really cheap camera and limited battery power and limited SD card space, interview a couple of artists and catch some video and images of some pretty epic cosplays. I'm not saying it's not anything you haven't seen in other conventions, but it is something I think is worth sharing with you guys, so I'm going to be cropping those videos together and giving you a highlights package from the Montreal Comic Con. I got a chance to meet Mick Foley, former WWE wrestler and hardcore legend. I only have just one quick picture of that, really. I went to see his comedy show. He does a lot of reminiscing about his time in WWE, as well as a couple of funny stories outside the ring. And it's pretty funny. I went with a friend of mine who was not into wrestling at all, and he spent a good 10 minutes trying to convince her to come to the show. And she was very receptive to begin with, so. But, well, what can I tell you? My friend is very, very, very attractive, and I think he wanted to talk to her just because he wouldn't otherwise have another opportunity to. I digress, though. So I'll be sharing some stories from the Montreal Comic Con, and I've since upgraded my some wiring that I have, so now I am able to record off my PlayStation 2, so that gives me access to a few additional games. The wiring that I have is also compatible with PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii U 164. So I am ready to record off of any console that I get my mitts on anyways. I'm in no hurry to rush and get other consoles, unfortunately. I have other priorities as far as my money's concerned. But if ever there's the opportunity to get a really cheap PS3, for example, or a friend of mine's like, hey, let's take up the old N64 and do some scrap with that, then absolutely. I will be continuing, of course, the last story. I've put that on pause for a bit. And this is kind of epic, actually. And, like I said, I went into this completely blind, so my reaction to this was, what the fuck, Fantuned? He was a very, very odd choice for this particular battle, but at the same time, he brings it with floor masters. I guess that's the best way to describe that, as a floor master. Because it acts like a floor master. The only thing it doesn't do is send you back to the start of the game, which I'm glad it doesn't. So yeah, the challenge of Fantoon is that even though it looks like the laser's hurting you a little bit, the fact of the matter is you need to use super missiles to actually deal some damage, and when you look at all the firepower that he can toss at you, you are better off. Oh, you see, actually beams do damage. I didn't notice that. I noticed that the super missiles are doing all the damage, but I didn't realize the hyper beam was doing enough. Well, plasma beam anyways, not the hyper beam. No hyper beam in this game. But yeah, this was actually really, really intense. And I've since looked at people's reaction to this. They found this boss actually quite difficult. I don't blame him, because look at all the firepower and all the moves that he's got. Like, you have to keep dodging, you have to find time to shoot. Not always easy. Shooting your arms at you, shooting his phantom things at you, lasers into the ground. which you can easily sense move into by accident. And really the only thing you can do is keep moving. And whenever you have that 2 seconds you need to fire off a missile, go for it. Because that's the best way to damage him, the most effective way to damage him. I have to take out some spawns too. One thing I have to say about Phantoon, he's a lot more material than we're used to seeing him. He's not actually a ghost in this thing. Like, you can tell he's physically there. So he's not disappearing, reappearing as he did in his only other previous appearance in Super Metroid. Nonetheless, let me tell you, when I saw this, I was really happy because I knew there was only one way left to end this. Screw attack to the eye. Epic finish. And yes, I did that in one try. I have to tell you, I was really proud of myself for doing that in one try. Because that was actually a hard, but well, a challenging boss. None of the bosses were really that hard. Which, I don't know if I made that observation in the previous video, but if I didn't, I'm making it now. None of the bosses were really that hard. Mama Metroid is probably the exception. I didn't find her hard, but if you don't know you can zap yourself into her mouth, and if you don't know that you can drop power bombs at that point, well, what can I tell you? And the whole, like, elevator freezing. And, yeah, I realized I could have gotten this bit before, but I never spotted it. That's right, I collected a missile tank after the boss. After what was the last boss of the game. Double of them, in fact. Now, these are all things I could have collected before, but didn't spot the first time, or second time, or third time. But I managed to spot them here. This was the next surprise for me, of course, was what this so-called irreplaceable object was.
Thanks for telling me all this. I've got to destroy the Metroids and MB in Sector 0. You have to remain hidden.
No! Samus!
Don't worry. The Galactic Federation CO, who's here now, will help you.
Self-destruction protocol activated. Please evacuate the facility immediately.
Now this was the other surprise. We have a Zero Suit segment for whatever reason.
Please evacuate the facility immediately.
I've said it before in the LP, and I'll say it again here. This game was supposed to be a tribute to Super Metroid, but it's more of a Metroid to Metroid Fusion. And in fact, this is actually more of a nod to Metroid Zero Mission, the only other game to have a Zero Suit segment. There's Space Pirates, so we have to use our blaster. The most our blaster can do is stun these guys. I don't know why she can't put her suit back on for this bit, but I mean it's Samus. We don't necessarily want her to put her suit back on, but for escaping from Space Pirates in an exploding space station, I can excuse it.
4 minutes until detonation. Please evacuate the facility immediately.
No, it's at this point it's really just another excuse to hear the Ridley theme one last time. Because if there's anything music did get right, and they dropped gates in the way just to mess us up. So blast gates to continue. Yeah, we fell too far here. Well, the fall naturally led us down here. So all we can do is just keep moving. If you can get out of the way so I can get underneath, it'd be nice. Of course, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. It is, of course, a Metroid game, and everyone knows at the end of a Metroid game, it's get out or blow up. So yes, how hard is this bit? Well, I would call it the hardest thing ever, but first time through and you're in a panic run, like I was here. Well, not so much a panic run, but in a mood of get the fuck out. And a couple of surprises, like you see, the fire can actually damage you. I was surprised by that. Usually I'm not used to that, and there's no more charging up when you get to like critical health, so I was really afraid I wasn't gonna make it. But in the end, we made it happen. Escaping with plenty of time.
Sorry for keeping you waiting, Adam. Let's go home.
All that for a helmet. So, that wraps up Metroid Other M. Game. And I did miss a couple of things, so my collection rate is at 98%. At 100%, a hard mode is unlocked. For anyone who wants to try the hard mode, get 100% the first time round. Give it a spin. Personally, I won't be doing that. I'm not going to go back for those items, just do the hard mode. I'm calling this one done. Before I call it a night with this one, I'm going to show you some unlockables that we've achieved. Now, we've unlocked a whole bunch of concept art, and you've also all the cutscenes in the game are unlocked. Someone's actually taken all the cutscenes and turned it into Metroid the movie on YouTube. But once you finish the game in its entirety, well, you've got it all unlocked for yourself. And with this nice, gentle piano tune, it's time to say goodbye to Samus. And whatever my next project may be, it's a sure thing that I will see you there. So goodbye, Samus. Thank you everyone for watching this one. Putting up with, well, this particular game. Not the best Metroid game. Not the worst game I've ever played. But that's besides the point. That's a wrap for this one. I will see you all next time. And whatever the next time may be.